Well, good morning, and thank you for coming today. I'm State Representative Jim Townsend, and welcome to the 26th District. I'm joined here by my colleagues, Representative John Switolski, Representative Rashida Tlaib, Representative Adam Zemke, Representative Vicky Barnett, and Representative Ellen Kogan-Lipton. Is that everybody? Oh, Representative Henry Yanez, sorry. To talk to you today about an initiative that we've undertaken. It's a thing called the Taxometer. And what it is a virtual display that represents in real time the largest tax shift in the history of the state of Michigan. You might notice that this taxometer looks a lot like the debt clock that you find in various cities. I think there's one in Times Square and a number of other places, the U.S. national debt clock, which records and shows how the national debt is growing every day, every second of every day. Well, this does the same thing for the tax shift, as I said, unprecedented shift in taxation from corporations onto the middle class, seniors, and the working poor in our state. Every second it ticks upward, it shows the shift and really the destruction of tax fairness in our state. Every day, that tax shift represents over $4 million of increased taxes that every individual in Michigan will now owe as a result of the Republican tax policy that was enacted and went into effect in 2012. That amounts to $50 every second. The taxometer is adding on every second because tax credits and tax benefits that Michiganders were getting previously have been taken away. I'd now like to turn this over to Representative John Switolski, who will tell you more about the taxometer. John?
Yes.
All my stuff out of your way.
Thanks, Jim, and good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I represent House District 28, which is Warren and Centerline in Macomb County. And I know from talking to the folks there in Macomb County at my coffee hours and at other events that these tax shifts, these tax increases are clearly hurting seniors and those trying to raise children. We've all lost tax credits because of Governor Snyder and the Republican legislators. They've been very busy over the last 2+ years rewriting Michigan's tax code to shift the burden of taxes onto middle-class families throughout the state. They've done this in a number of ways, by imposing tax on retirement income, such as pensions, and those particularly hurt because seniors who rely on pensions are often on a fixed income. Republicans eliminated the homestead property tax and the tax credit, and eliminated the $600 per child tax deduction. They also eliminated charitable giving tax credits. The state's earned income tax credit, which was done under the Reagan administration, is probably one of the most effective tools at battling poverty in the state and across the country. Republicans have also taken away the city income tax credit, vehicle donation credit, college tuition and fees credit, and adoption credits. The one thing that all of these changes have in common is that they hurt middle-class families. Republicans have pushed through these measures that have hurt families in order to fund nearly $2 billion, with a B, in tax breaks to corporations, many of which pay no income tax whatsoever. These handouts were given to corporations without securing a promise that these companies would create even one single job. And we have not seen the unemployment rate decrease since these tax relief cuts have gone into effect. In fact, the opposite is true. Since Governor Snyder's tax plan has gone into effect, we have seen an increase in unemployment. The worst part is many Michiganders didn't realize these changes until tax day of this year, when their tax return was far less than they counted on and they expected. We know that that is wrong, and we have fought them every step of the way, and we will continue to do so and not back down on this fight. To tell you more about what the Michigan House Dems are doing to change these unfair tax laws, my colleague, Representative Adam Zemke, will tell you more.
Thank you, John, and thank you for all coming today. I'm Adam Zemke. I represent the 55th District, which is the central portion of Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor, Milan, Augusta, Pittsfield, New York townships. Earlier this year, as John mentioned, the House Democrats wanted to take it upon ourselves to go out throughout the state and listen to what Michiganders are saying, the burdens that they're now experiencing. We held town halls in communities all over and heard continuously the suffering and the troubles that Michiganders are now feeling. Specifically, common themes are we heard from seniors who are hurting because their pension checks are now reduced as a result of the increased senior tax on their retirement income. We heard from homeowners who were shocked to learn when they filed their tax forms this last April that their homestead property tax had been eliminated. It's estimated that 400,000 people in Michigan who qualified for this credit previously did not receive it this time. We heard from many other families who qualified for a federal tax credit that is now reduced. We talked to moms and dads who learned that they can no longer take a child deduction for their kids, something that they previously counted on. And we heard their anger. We heard their cries. We share it as similar burdens as our own homeowners and parents. We fought Republicans on these damaging tax increases every step of the way, and we're still fighting today. Now to tell you a little bit more specifically about our fight is our Vice Chair of Tax Policy, Representative Vicki Barnett.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, that was a great job. My name is Vicki Barnett. I represent Farmington and Farmington Hills, and I am the Vice Chair of Tax Policy. Before I talk about specifically what our plan is, I just want to point out something. This all was done under one giant bill called the Corporate Income Tax Bill. All of these things that hurt middle-class families and seniors who are struggling to make ends meet on fixed incomes were buried in a bill designed to fix the corporate income tax rate. So while I understood what was going on, and those of us that serve in the legislature knew, people like my sister had no idea. So when she went to pay her taxes in April, expecting a tax refund, she found out she owed money. Somebody who was struggling to scrape by found out she lost her homestead property tax credit. She found out that she had to write a check and was living on very little savings in her bank account. That's just one story in my family. I'm sure you all have people in your family who suffered the same shock when they went to pay their taxes last April. So, we've heard about the problems people face, and even as I go door to door today in my community, I hear from people saying, what happened to my homestead property tax credit? Where did it go? I can't get by on this. Why are they taking a larger chunk out of my pension? Because I have to pay a tax? Why? And I really can't give them a good answer, other than the fact that the governor and the Republican-led legislature decided it was important for businesses to create jobs. So they gave businesses an almost $2 billion tax break. And how many jobs have they created? We have a higher unemployment rate today than we did when this tax was passed. And in fact, it's even worse than that, because Pulte Corporation is leaving the state of Michigan, despite the fact that the governor keeps touting how great the business climate is in Michigan today. So after conducting our listening tour and hearing the concerns of citizens and talking to people on the streets and going door to door, we've introduced bills to restore the earned income tax credit to 11%. We introduced bills to restore the $600 child credit that Republicans stole from Michigan citizens and parents. We have introduced a bill to restore the homestead property tax credits that allow seniors to stay in the homes that they've lived in for many years. We've also introduced bills to repeal the onerous pension tax, which is very complicated, hard to understand, and should be gone. Michigan families have been under attack from these increases, and that's why we're ready to act, and my colleagues and I stand here before you today. We're serious about getting rid of these burdensome taxes. It's the only thing that we should be doing right now in the legislature. But the only thing standing between tax relief and the Republicans who run the legislature are you. And that's why we're asking that you'll help us. We're demanding that they take up our tax relief bills, and we're asking families of the state of Michigan to get involved. So please, pick up the phone, pick up a pen, and get online and tell your representatives that you've had enough. Talk to your neighbors. Tell them what's happening. They probably know because they pay their taxes like all good citizens of the state of Michigan have done. So, we want to highlight our taxometer, which shows you how much of the burden you're now shouldering. And you can tell your friends to go see it and go online at www.goptax-0-meter. Once you're there, you can sign the online petition and learn how the taxes were raised on you as an individual. Please spread the word, get involved. It is the only way we're going to force the legislature to act. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague from Sterling Heights, Henry Yanez.
Just to be clear, that's tax-o-meter, the letter O. My name is Henry Yanez, and I represent District 25, which is Sterling Heights and Warren. It's the part of Macomb County where they don't require you to wear a tie. But I'm here today to talk about my experience with my constituents. As a first-time legislator, I have had the opportunity to go out and talk to my constituents to get to know them. I do coffee hours every week. I go door to door just about every day that I'm home. And I talk to people, and they tell me they are hurting. My community is the home of the auto industry in Macomb County. We have 2 Ford plants, 2 Chrysler plants. And the people that live in my district, those people work at those auto plants. Not unlike my dad, who worked 48 years at the Ford Motor Company. And when he retired, he got a nice little pension. He got Social Security. He got a little bit of a health insurance, a retiree health care. And he was able to live a comfortable life when he retired. But today's retirees, they don't get that. Now their pension is being taxed. All this money that they thought that they're going to have to put aside to take care of their family, their grandkids, is now being taken up by the state, taken away, and not coming back. And I hear about this every single week that I'm out there talking to my constituents. And, the Republicans, Macomb County, by the way, is formerly known as the home of the Reagan Democrats. Well, I got to tell you something. Those Reagan Democrats, those conservative Democrats that live in my district, they don't want their taxes raised. They want their tax dollars used efficiently, and it's not getting done. And this is not just anecdotal evidence that I'm hearing at the door. These are facts right here on this taxometer, backed up by numbers crunched by the House Fiscal Agency. This governor, this legislature is not just hurting middle-class families. They're crushing middle-class families. They're hurting local communities by taking money out of the community. Here in Sterling, or over in Sterling Heights, where I represent, we're having a millage just to keep police and fire. And they had to have one last year in the city of Warren just to maintain a respective level of police and fire protection. That money is being taken out of the community and used for purposes that are not effective for local communities. Taxpayers are being hurt, and it's time to stop. It's time to start fighting for middle-class families. We're not just fighting for Reagan Democrats, we're also fighting for Yanez Republicans in Macomb County. So with that, I'm going to continue to fight for fairness for my community, for fairness for my constituents, just like my colleagues here, and thank you very much for your time.